The following are true scary stories submitted to me by you guys. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can catch all of my future content. I also released a new video on Fear Your Maker. I'll have a link in the description so you can go watch that video after this one. It has 2 verified stories from the subreddit Let's Not Meet. Without any further ado, let's begin. This story was submitted by Brandy Clark. I'm 28 and live in Kingston, Ontario. I have met slews of creepy people in my life. Being a big guy, I have never felt completely helpless. I think that's why this shook me so bad. It was a lonely night after work, and I was browsing POF when I suddenly got a notification that I received a message. I wasn't surprised, as I had messaged a few women that night. I checked my inbox and realized it was from a woman that I hadn't messaged. A woman by the username Cuddles Galore. Now, I was a bit surprised. It's rare for me to receive a message. I open it and read the long message that Cuddles has written. She has 2 kids and has been single for a while, and she asked me a few questions. I decided to respond, and things went well. Those first few days of messages were smooth, and she seemed like a sweet girl who had a lot of bad luck in her love life, so we decided to meet up. You know how some people say that they get a sense of trouble when meeting someone, that something about them is off? I know that feeling, but I didn't get that when meeting Cuddles. I met her at a Denny's. We had a decent night over dinner. She was cute, not gorgeous, but definitely attractive. She was very blunt, but that didn't really send up any red flags. It was nice having a no-bullshit approach. We parted ways after dinner and kept texting. About a week later, I was finishing up at work when I got a text. It was from Cuddles. "Hey, how's work?" "Just finishing up. Been a dead night," I responded. "Any plans after?" "Nope. I was just gonna head home and hang with the dog." "Would you like to come over and watch a movie?" I'll admit that I was pretty tired from work, but I decided it was going to be more fun to watch a movie with her than to go home and vegetate on my couch, so I agreed to go over. When I got there, we spent a bit of time just hanging out in her room watching Netflix. At some point, we ended up kissing, and it led to having sex. In the morning, I told her that I had to leave and that I would see her later. I went home and walked my dog, then got ready for work. Now things seem really good, don't they? I thought so too. Boy, was I in for a shocker. Cuddles started texting me way more. This wasn't a bad thing, but it quickly turned negative when she started going off about me not responding quickly enough. I'd be busy at work, finally check my phone, and have 40 messages about not texting back. So I sent her a response to relax. I'm working, so I can't reply all the time. This appeased her at first, but it became a habit. Very quickly, I was realizing that this behavior was just going to keep escalating. After about a week of texting and me trying to calm her down, I was finding my patience running out for her. We had only slept together once, and had only known each other about 3 weeks by this point. So I messaged her and told her that I could not handle her behavior, and that if she couldn't cool down, I was going to stop talking to her. She seemed to simmer down at first, which was great. Things seemed to be on the normal track again, but they quickly turned around again. One night, one of the cooks at my work named Andrew told me that a girl came in while I was on delivery. She had asked to see me, and when Andrew told her I was on delivery, she got very angry and stormed out. The description he gave matched Cuddles. I was a bit surprised and checked my phone. Sure enough, my phone was littered with texts about me not being there and how I had my coworkers lying for me, that I was avoiding her. Then messages apologizing for it all. Then right back to anger. I was getting whiplash from the mood swings, and I texted her back. I told her I couldn't handle her, and asked her politely to leave me alone. I then blocked her number. A few days went by, and I started feeling bad for the way I blew Cuddle off. Yes, I obviously couldn't handle the way she was, but I did like her originally. I thought maybe I was kinda rough, that maybe there was another way I could have dealt with it. The girl had been through a lot of heartbreak, and here I was, a guy who had slept with her, and I just blocked her. I felt really guilty. The guilt was short-lived, though. I started noticing a van around my work a lot. My work is connected to a school parking lot, so at first I didn't think anything of a random vehicle parked in the lot. Eventually, though, I noticed it would follow me on delivery. This kept happening. I'd go off to deliver a pizza, and notice the van following from a distance, or it'd drive by while I was walking up a driveway. I notified my manager, but there wasn't anything anyone could do, because we couldn't prove it was following me. What made it even more weird was that I never noticed anyone in the van. I had been tempted to go up and see who it was, but when it was parked, it was always empty, and when it drove past, I was always too far from it to clearly see who was inside. Time went by, and I started seeing the van other places as well. I'd go into a store and see the van in the parking lot, walking out of restaurants with a friend, and it would be there, always empty. I started thinking I was going crazy. One night, I pulled into my apartment building's lot and went inside to get my dog and take him for a walk. As I exit the building with my dog, I see that damn van parked right out front. Now I had just about enough and walked over and looked inside. Of course, it's empty. My dog starts getting antsy, and I look away from the van to see someone in a hoodie stalking around the building. I felt a chill go up my spine. The person in the hoodie was looking through the windows. "What the fuck are you doing?" I yelled out, and the person froze. I started walking towards them, dog at my side. Whoever it was, they were shorter than me. Add that my dog is about 70 pounds of muscle, and you can say I was feeling confident that the person in the hoodie wasn't going to give me much trouble. That's when I heard a voice that made my heart drop. "You weren't talking to me, so I wanted to check up on you," Cuddles said in a low sob. I don't know what to do or say. I just stood there, completely bewildered. "That's your van?" I asked, trying to stay firm. She nodded, and tears were coming from her face. I sighed. "You can't follow someone around. I told you that's why I stopped talking to you. You have to leave. Now." She went into a desperate plea, but I dismissed her and threatened to call the cops. I thought that was it. After that night, I stopped seeing the van. A few weeks went by, and I started to feel back to normal. I thought she'd got the message. About a month after the incident at my building, I came home to a shock. The word bastard had been scratched into my door. I quickly went inside to check on my dog. He was fine. Whomever carved upon my door had not been brave enough to try and get inside. I was going to just dismiss it, but it kept happening, and it got worse. My car got keyed up, and someone would start banging on random windows in the middle of the night. I had it, and I called the cops. I told them everything about my encounters with Cuddles and such, but they couldn't prove it was her. They did decide to talk to her and let her know to leave me be. It's now been 2 months. I haven't had another incident. It's been very quiet, and I don't see her van anymore. I'm just praying that she got the message. This story was submitted by Brandy Clark. I was around 13 years old when this happened, and home alone. This wasn't uncommon, as it was during summer break, and my mom knew I was responsible and she could trust me alone. On this particular afternoon, my mom had left to go pick up my brother and sister from either summer school or gymnastics. I can't remember which. I was in the living room, eating a snack and watching TV, when I heard a loud knock on the door. My mom always told me to never unlock or open the door for anyone when she was not home, so I ignored the knock, figuring they'd think no one was home and leave. However, there was another knock. This time, the knocking sounded more like pounding. Then I heard a voice say, "Hello," in a very low kind of tone. Understandably, I was weirded out and did not answer the door. I then heard footsteps leaving the front porch, growing faint, and then disappearing. I suddenly got this strange feeling that I was being watched, or that the house was being watched. As people often say, curiosity got the better of me, and I peeked out the window. The guy looked harmless. He was a dark-haired guy in a clean white shirt. He looked normal, but I had a feeling that something about him was just off. He was out in front of my house, sitting in a small white car, just staring at the house, with this blank expression on his face. He caught a glimpse of me, and I immediately shut the curtains and backed away from the window. After what felt like forever, I heard his car pull away. I thought I was in the clear, so I settled back in to watch TV. About 10 minutes later, I heard a pounding at the door again. I peeked out the window that was to the left of my front door. It was the same guy. I immediately laid on the floor, trying to stay hidden. He pounded on the door again. I lay frozen on the floor, afraid to even move a muscle. After seeing that I wasn't going to answer the door, he went back to his car. And again, like a dummy, I peeked out the window to see if he was gone. He was in his car and staring straight at me with the same blank look on his face, as if waiting for me to look out the window or open the door or something. It was fucking creepy as hell. Back in those days, in the early 90s, we had no cell phones, and I had no way of getting in touch with my mom. I probably should have called the police from our home phone. I don't know why I didn't. I was young and dumb, and didn't think about it. I was so scared of the guy who would not leave, and I wanted to get out of there, out of the house. The only thing I could think to do was to run to the neighbors down the street, who was a former teacher of mine. There weren't many houses on my street, so I didn't have many options. We had a set of French doors that led out to the backyard, so I opened them up. Once you stepped into our backyard, it was surrounded by a big chain-link fence. The gate that led to the front yard was in full view of where the asshole was parked in front of our house. So I did the only thing I could do. I went to the opposite side of the house where the fence was, and hopped the fence. The chain link caught my pants, and I went tumbling to the ground, but I quickly got up and shot to my neighbor's place down the street. I could feel his eyes boring at my back as I ran to the neighbor's house and began pounding on the door. She answered, and I pointed at the car down the street and told her that he had been pounding on my door, that he was scaring me, and that he would not leave my house. She immediately invited me in and said that I could wait there until my mom got home. I went and stood by her front windows and just stared out there, both watching for my mom's car and seeing if the creepy guy had left. He didn't. He just sat there, now staring towards the house where I was at. I started to feel sick to my stomach until I saw my mom's car pull past our neighbor's house and go down the street. Suddenly, the man's car went speeding down the street, and he turned down a road and never came back. He probably saw my mom's car coming towards the house, freaked, and took off. I still don't know how he knew my mom's car though. I waited a few moments before opening the door, and my mom came speeding down the street, probably because she saw that I wasn't home, so I ran out of my neighbor's house and started waving her down. I got in the car, shaking, and told her what happened. She was pretty weirded out as well. Thankfully, the guy never came back to our house again, but it took me a long time before I felt comfortable staying at home alone. I still wonder, what was he even doing there in the first place? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so you can catch all of my future content. I also released a new video on Fear Your Maker that are 2 verified stories from the subreddit Let's Not Meet. I'll have a link on the screen or in the description for you mobile users. Have a great rest of your weekend, and just remember, it's always scarier if it's true.